All right, so picture this. It's 1972, quiet Pennsylvania town. And they find a skeleton down this old, forgotten well. Now, straight away, you're thinking, okay, who doing it? Classic mystery setup. But here's the thing. It's so much deeper than just solving a crime. Finding that skeleton, it's really like pulling a thread that unravels decades of secrets. A whole town's history, basically. All these quiet acts, this community, it's all buried there. So today, we're doing a deep dive into James McBride's amazing novel, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. Honestly, this book is just a masterclass. We're going to unpack the really key stuff, the heart of this story about immigrants, survival, secrets, all of it.
Exactly. And our goal here, it isn't just to recap the plot for you. We want to take you right into the heart, the soulful rhythm of this place called Chicken Hill. We'll really dig into how this, pretty unassuming neighborhood and this little grocery store, the Heaven and Earth grocery store, how it became the absolute center, the beating heart for this incredible mix of people. You've got Jewish immigrants, African Americans, musicians playing jazz, bootleggers, real outcasts too. So think of this dive as like a shortcut to understanding these surprising facts, these deep insights about community, about resilience, and maybe most importantly about those quiet acts of heroism that really shapes history under the surface.
Okay, so let's go back. Chicken Hill, 1920s, 1930s. It's this place, like you said, mostly forgotten by the wider world. But for the people who live there, it was absolutely everything. And the thing that always struck me about Chicken Hill is that contradiction at its core. You have black families, Jewish families, living literally side by side. McBride calls it an uneasy harmony. And amidst all that, there's jazz music, kids running around barefoot, everyone just trying to scrape by during the Depression. It's quite a picture.
It really is. And that uneasy harmony is key because it wasn't like a perfect piece. Far from it. Underneath, there were huge tensions, racism, crushing poverty, real injustice. But there was also this shared experience, this understanding of being, on the margins. And McBride shows brilliantly how sometimes those big external pressures, like the Depression, instead of just breaking people apart, they kind of force this unlikely solidarity. And right into this complicated mix come Mashar and Chona Ledlow. They're a Jewish couple, they own the local theater, and of course the grocery store. But they weren't just shopkeepers. No. Their whole approach, it made them something else. Protectors. Allies, even you could say rebels, but in these quiet, everyday ways.
Right. And Chona Ledlow especially, she's just such a central character. And she's got her own major struggles, right? She's in a wheelchair, she's sick, but incredibly, fiercely independent. And that store she runs, it's clear it's not about making money. Not really. She keeps it going purely for love, giving food away to folks who can't pay. McBride has that beautiful line, something like, she speaks Yiddish, but her heart speaks every language. How did that kind of deep compassion, especially when times were so incredibly tough, how did that actually work to bind the community together against everything else?
Well, her compassion, it wasn't just a nice personality trait. It was practical. It was defiant. It created this alternative economy, almost, an economy based on care, not cash. Think about it. When all the official systems, the government, just failed these people, Chona's actions, her store, it became a safety net. A real one. It proved that even when the state basically abandoned them, the community itself could find ways to provide support. And this becomes incredibly important, or really comes to a head, around one particular character, Dodo. He's a young black boy, an orphan. He's deaf, and he's facing this terrible threat. The state wants to institutionalize him, put him away.
Yeah, and the way McBride writes it, you feel the community's reaction instantly. They knew exactly what that meant, especially for, as McBride puts it, black disabled boys who disappear into the system. It wasn't about help. It was about being lost, forgotten. It's just chilling.
Absolutely chilling. And what happens next is what's breathtaking, really. This incredible act of community resistance just springs up around Dodo, the whole town practically. Jewish families, black families, they all conspire together to hide him. And the risk, they're risking absolutely everything.
That's jobs, their safety.
Everything. They're breaking the law. They're essentially creating their own kind of justice. And McBride shows the cleverness of it, too. It wasn't just hiding him in an attic. They hid him in plain sight sometimes, using their collective knowledge, their network. That, for me, is really the soul of the book. People with basically nothing, pooling everything they have, their wits, their courage.
What?
Giving it all.
It's so powerful. But, as the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. The whispers start.
Yeah.
People notice Dodo's gone. And the danger just ramps up. You've got racists in town getting suspicious. Authorities start kind of sniffing around. And then there's this one figure, this crooked cop. He's got his own issues, a chip on his shoulder. And he starts asking too many questions. threatening to pull apart everything they built.
Right.
It really slams home the cost, doesn't it? The cost of doing the right thing in that world.
It really does. McBride is unflinching about the consequences, and in the middle of all this rising tension, Chona, she's getting sicker. But she has to find, somehow, these last reserves of strength to protect Dodo, to protect the community's secret. And yeah, what follows involves betrayals, it involves violence, real sacrifice. But what's so important, I think, is how McBride portrays everyone. These aren't saints. They're not perfect heroes. They're human.
So human.
Yeah, flawed, definitely stubborn, sometimes misguided, but also incredibly hopeful. And just full of this deep, stubborn love, he makes them feel, well, real, messy, like people you actually know.
That's exactly it. That's the James McBride magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
His writing. It just sings. He can shift you from, like, laughing out loud at some absurdity to feeling this profound heartbreak, sometimes in the same paragraph, maybe even the same sentence.
Yeah.
And the characters feel so incredibly lived in, like they could be your neighbors, your uncles, your friends. How does he do that?
It's partly his mastery of voice, I think, and perspective. He lets so many different characters have their say, their viewpoint. You get this rich, woven tapestry of voices, this kind of kaleidoscopic view of Chicken Hill, not just one perspective. And if you step back and look at the bigger picture he's painting, McBride is distilling these incredibly powerful messages, isn't he? Like, sometimes the strongest resistance, the most effective kind, it doesn't come from shouting or violence. It comes from community.
Yeah.
From that quiet strength, that audacious love they show each other, and maybe the biggest one, that love itself, especially when you're facing down so much hate and injustice, that love is revolutionary. It's an act of defiance all on its own.
Wow. Yeah. Which, amazingly, takes us right back where we started, 1972. The skeleton in the well. It does get identified eventually. But like we said up front, this isn't really a murder mystery, not in the way you'd normally think.
Yeah.
It's more like a memory recovered, an echo from the past.
Yeah.
Definitely a reminder.
Yeah, a reminder of what ordinary people did, quietly, bravely, when nobody important was looking, when history wasn't paying attention. It reminds us that love and community and that kind of fierce defiance, it can exist, it can hide in the most ordinary, everyday places. A little theater, a rundown grocery store, a tenement building on Chicken Hill. The heaven and earth grocery store is fundamentally about the people history tends to forget. And James McBride just refuses. He refuses to let us forget them. He gives them back their story, their dignity.
So if you've ever found yourself wondering what it really means to be part of a community, especially maybe a community that's up against it, facing huge odds, or if you've ever felt like an outsider yourself, or maybe question how regular, ordinary people can possibly stand up against injustice, then this story is definitely for you.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Sometimes the smallest store, the most humble place, can hold the biggest, most profound truths. Just think about how those simple, everyday acts, connecting with someone, resisting quietly, showing up for each other, how those things born in unlikely places like Chicken Hill can actually build something incredibly powerful, something revolutionary and lasting.